Hello, everybody. My name is Phoenix, and I am once again here to talk to you about the Singularity. So, Singularity recently went through a bit of a rework that addressed his quality of life more than anything else. With these changes came an adjustment to the numbers of his kit, aim assist on the teleport to help out us console scrubs, an addition of Killer Instinct to his power, and in a future update, we will see the auto aim on the biopods returning as an optional feature, and a fair few add on changes as well. As a dedicated Singularity main, I am overall extremely pleased with the changes he has received. He feels absolutely wonderful to play, has lost some of the clunkiness that comes with using a controller, and overall, playing him is just a way more enjoyable experience that really didn't change the killer fundamentally or change his level of strength very much. I do have some concerns about some of the changes, however, and one of those concerns is what I'm going to talk about with you today. Singularity got some really fun and useful add ons with these changes. His add on variety is very diverse now, with some of the reworked add ons like Nano Machine Gel and the diagnostic tool Repair being absolutely amazing and fun. Previously, most Singularity players were using the purple add on, the Soma family photo, which granted 5% haste while you were in the overclock state. Soma family photo was widely believed to be a necessity on the killer as it increased his lethality in chase and also cut down on the clunky, slow feeling of waking up from a teleport. It made it much harder for survivors to just W key you from tile to tile in chase, and also synergized extremely well with the Xenomorph's teachable perk, Rapid Brutality, which granted an additional 5% haste for 10 seconds after hitting a survivor with a basic attack. Behavior definitely took note of the usage rate for Soma Family Photo because when Singularity got his changes, they decided to implement a base kit 3% haste in overclock. So, a mildly toned down version of the photo completely for free. Players rejoiced that their favorite killer now has 2 add on slots available to use. But what about the add on after the changes? Soma Family Photo was reworked completely as of the 8.1.0 patch, as its haste effect was partially made into the Singularity's base kit. The new effect for Photo is as follows: causes survivors to suffer from 3% hindered for 3 seconds after being inflicted with the temporal slipstream from a biopod. Survivors that are injured when they're infected also suffer from the deep wounds status effect. Note that the conditions for this add-on to work are very specific. They must be manually infected from a biopod. This will not apply if the slipstream is spread from another survivor. To put it bluntly, I feel like this add-on is extremely problematic and unhealthy for Dead by Daylight. The hindered effect of photo is more or less inconsequential and doesn't really do much for you in game. I rarely see it being useful or impactful in chase, considering you'll rarely have to slipstream a survivor more than one time per chase unless the team is really efficient with their EMPs. Not to mention, by the time you tag a survivor with slipstream, exit the camera, and either teleport to them or walk them down, the hindered is kind of already gone. So I just see it as being almost completely useless, just in my humble opinion. While the deep wounds aspect of Soma Family Photo can be used in specific anti-heal builds to get value out of perks like Sloppy Butcher, and could be invaluable for a hit and run build, it also enables a very ugly, very frowned upon playstyle that many players find frustrating to play against, and that would be tunneling. A Singularity player could, in theory, keep a biopod next to a hooked survivor. When that survivor is saved, you can immediately apply Slipstream to them once the hook penalty slowdown is gone after a few seconds. This denies the survivor most of their tools that prevent them from being tunneled in the first place, including Dead Hard, Off the Record, Borrow Time, and the base kit endurance that they receive off of a hook. As long as the survivor doesn't have a perk like Decisive Strike, you can just immediately down them and put them right back on the hook. While this is a valid strategy and is something that exists within the confines of the game, I just don't see this being really fun or interactive for either party. In fact, I see this as being extremely frustrating to play against as a survivor. Tunneling is already something that feels very bad to experience, and this add-on just kind of enables that further. If more Singularity players catch on to this, it could be massively detrimental to the killer as a whole. People will start to dread loading in against Singularity. His player base will be seen as scummy, when before there was a level of respect people had for Singularity mains. Public outcry could eventually lead to an unnecessary nerf for the killer, and I don't want that. I don't think any Singularity players want that. Granted, this is all very doomer sounding and kind of a worst case scenario, but the fact that I've already seen clips of people doing this floating around on social media is very concerning. It means eventually it'll start to catch on as a trend. I have voiced my concerns about this add-on since the change to Soma Family Photo was revealed on the PTB, as have others, but the add-on made it to live servers as is. There is another killer on the roster who has a similar add-on. The Cenobite, aka Pinhead, has an add-on called Original Pain that inflicts deep wounds on survivors after they are successfully hit with a manually placed chain. Survivor players expressed similar frustrations with this particular add-on being used for tunneling purposes as well. And as far as I know, this is still in the game currently, but was given a short buffer period to deter Pinhead players from using it in an overly scummy way. The problem with Original Pain versus the Soma Family Photo is Pinhead actually has to aim and land his chain to get value. All Singularity has to do is look at you with a biopod, which is arguably easier and less effort than landing a chain. As a killer player, I understand that tunneling is sometimes a necessary evil if you're dead set on winning a game or trying to recover from a losing situation. I won't put myself on a pedestal and say I've never done it, but as someone who also plays Survivor, I can empathize that it feels really terrible to play against, especially in situations where it's not really necessary for the killer player to be focusing you down. And I definitely make a conscious decision in my own games to not tunnel if I feel like I don't have to. In my opinion, there is just a big difference between strategic tunneling and tunneling just for the sake of being an asshole. Soma Family Photo definitely enables the latter much, much more. If the devs were going to revert any part of Singularity's changes, I want them to scrap the new Soma Family Photo entirely and give it a different effect that's healthier gameplay wise. I don't think keeping its haste effect could be a good choice either. Even cutting it down to 2% haste to compensate wouldn't warrant a purple rarity add-on and could put it into the same state that it was in before, where it felt like a necessity to have the extra haste. My proposal for changing this add-on is taking the scaling overclock passive that was removed from Singularity's base kit, which was an additional 1 second of overclock per slipstream survivor, and applying it to this add-on. Purple add-ons typically change the killer in a fundamental way, and giving it that effect could fit the build perfectly. Plus, there's many players that enjoyed building their playstyle around the scaling overclock, and this would give them that option again at the expense of an add-on slot. A compromise I feel like a lot of players could be happy about, and doing something like this would only add to his already pretty well-rounded versatility. Of course, there's also the possibility that nothing changes at all, and Singularity's pick rate doesn't even shift. But who knows what will happen? At this point, it's all up to the player base what they do, and personally, I would love to run into more Singularity players in my own Survivor games. I genuinely hope that my concerns about the photo add-on are for naught, and people don't abuse it or take advantage of it for the sake of being nasty to other players. Thank you for watching, everyone, and giving me just even a second of your valuable time. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.